On tone, I very much agree with you. I think this is a bitterly divided time in our country, that there is an enormous amount of anger, rage, and hatred. And we're seeing it spill out in ugly ways, in angry confrontations, in bitter division that I think is not good for our country. It's not good for Texas. And I worry about where it goes. I think the rage we're seeing spill out on the streets, my concern is it's going to get worse before it gets better. There's no doubt there are instances of incivility across the political spectrum. Neither party, neither side of the political spectrum has a monopoly on incivility. And I don't have the ability to control what other elected officials say. There are a lot of things other people in office say that I would never say, but I don't have the ability to control that. I do have the ability to control what I say.
Do you feel that, as a leader on the right, that you can do something to calm the incivility from the far right?
So I try very much to do so. Now, I do think right now at this moment in time, the boiling rage we're seeing is on the far left. That I think the reaction of the far left to the 2016 election, I think many on the far left, and I also think many in the media, were flabbergasted that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton, and were filled with fury. And that's where I think the intensity of the rage is right now. I remember the day of President Trump's inauguration, protesters wearing T-shirts saying, "Not my president." And that saddened me. I mean, listen, Barack Obama was president for 8 years. I disagreed with a great many of the policies he advanced. He was my president every single day he was in office. He was the president of the United States, and that dividing us is not healthy. Now, I'm happy to talk about policies he was advancing that I think are not good ideas. You know, it was one of the reasons last year.
How do you square that sense that the rage is coming from the far left with something like Charlottesville?
I think Charlottesville was a handful of racist kooks that is an extreme fringe and is not representative of the country. And I think Nazis are grotesquely evil, racist, bigots, and idiots. I think the Klan are morons, as I've joked. We should all agree Nazis are bad. They're the guys who had their face melted off in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I will say, by the way, when I condemned Nazis and Klansmen at the time, I remember, I think it was a New York Times reporter who sent a tweet. I guess Marco did the same thing, and the New York Times reporter said, "Oh, Cruz and Rubio trying to," I'm paraphrasing, so I'm not going to get this exactly right, but trying to kiss up to future voters by pretending to be opposed to the Klan. And I remember responding, I typed it out on my phone, I'm like, oh yeah, because the Klan has such love for Cuban Americans. Like, look, these guys are racist morons, and I don't like bigots. But look, Charlottesville was a handful of extremes. The fury on the left, I think, is more broad-based. It's more, and I oppose bigotry of every kind. I think hatred and incivility does not have a place. We need to be able to disagree with civility while respecting each other's decency and humanity.
As a leader, as someone who does have the confidence of the right, do you have an additional responsibility to speak out, to say the rhetoric has to come down?
I understand that a lot of folks want me to engage in a running color commentary on the president and criticize everything he says. I don't think that's beneficial for Texas.
Does it have to be criticism?
That's what people want. I mean, look, that's what when there's a tweet or a comment, that's what people want is please say something bad about the president is the most common question you get from reporters, and it is asked 100 different ways, but it's and my approach is, look, when the president and the administration are implementing policy that's good for the people of Texas, I will praise the president and the administration for doing so. And one of the things that I spend a lot of time on in Washington is encouraging the president and the administration to go in a positive direction and not a negative direction. And we've had a lot of successes doing that. I do not believe those who came here illegally should be eligible for citizenship. And that's a position I've drawn repeatedly.
Well, you can stay but not be a citizen.
Well, that's the current status of DACA. And one of the reason that I gave, and Gromer, you'll remember this, Todd, you'll remember this, when I voted no on the last time we took up immigration, the reason I voted no is that the proposal that was being voted on was substantially to the left of where President Obama had been on immigration. Number one, it took the DACA population of anywhere from 600,000 to 800,000, and it tripled it to 1.8 million. That was to the left of where Obama was. And number two, it granted them citizenship. Obama did not grant them citizenship. He granted them a work permit. And what I said at the time is I thought it was a mistake for Congress to be granting citizenship to nearly 2 million people who came here illegally. That was the reason I cast a no vote, and that's entirely consistent with what I told the people of Texas in 2012 when I ran. And it's worth noting, a lot of folks think the way you earn Hispanic votes in the state of Texas is you run to the left. You embrace open borders and amnesty and socialism. I don't think that's right. I think the Hispanic community in Texas, our community is conservative. And in 2012, I was proud to receive 40% of the Hispanic vote, at the exact same time that Mitt Romney was getting 27% of the Hispanic vote nationwide. And I think the reason is the principles that I was fighting for resonate in the Hispanic community, including securing the borders and not granting amnesty.